Okay, this is the baby naming ceremony. It's activity 5.6. And here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. We're about to start, so if you'd all like to take your seats now, please. Thank you. Welcome, friends and family, to a very happy occasion for the Sterlings and the Browns. Today, we've come together to formally welcome the newest addition to these families, young Riley Jacob. My name is Tara, and I'm a registered marriage celebrant here in Queensland, and I have the very happy duty of hosting ceremonies that mark life's most important moments. And what is more important than the birth of a much longed for baby? Calvin and Susie, after many long years of hoping and praying, were recently blessed this past February the 14th with the birth of a strong and healthy baby boy who weighed exactly 8 pounds. Susie gave birth after a very long labor in the Redcliffe Hospital, and many of you here today visited Susie in room 225, where she spent 3 days resting and recovering after the birth. Calvin, being the gentleman that he is, made sure to mark the auspicious date with a dozen long stem roses for his wife. Calvin had the florist add a special 13th rose to the bouquet as a nod to his newborn son. And since that day last February, Calvin and Susie have been wrapped up in a bubble made of equal parts exhaustion and joy. It's a state that all new parents find themselves in, and I often wonder if we ever fully come out of that state. One thing is certain, the joy that a child brings to a family doesn't ever seem to wear off, does it? And as the child grows, the parents experience pure delight over and over again. I will now make special mention of the extended family that surrounds this new baby boy and his parents. Bob and Esme Sterling are Calvin's parents and Riley's grandparents. Their daughter Justine and her husband Mark are aunt and uncle to baby Riley. They have 4 boys, Cale, Jamin, Josh, and Tom. And these boys are delighted that their newest little cousin turned out to be another boy. Janelle and Morris Brown are Susie's folks. Their children, aside from Susie, are Mark and his partner Tamara, and their 2 girls, Angelica and Isla Jane. And Sam and his partner Tom, and their daughter Talia. Riley has joined a troop of cousins who are all very excited to kiss and cuddle their newest little co-conspirator. And speaking of cousins, Angelica, the oldest of the group, will now come forward to read a poem by Helen Steiner Ross. This poem is called A Wee Bit of Heaven. Angelica. Now Angelica reads, and at this point, I'm going to ask Calvin and Susie to join me up here at the front. And Susie, bring your little bundle of joy up here with you if you don't mind. Now, Calvin, as the father of the baby, I'm going to ask you to take him in your arms. Repeat after me, Calvin. I, Calvin James Sterling, promise this day to provide you, my son, with all the things you require for a full and a happy life. I commit to protecting you, providing for you, and teaching you to be a strong and gentle man. Thank you, Calvin. Now if you could pass Riley to his mother. All right, Susie, now it's your turn. I, Susanna Louise Brown, promise to you this day to encourage your unique spirit and guide you with both courage and humility. I vow to care for you always and raise you to be kind-hearted and thoughtful and brave. Thank you, Susie. That was beautiful. Now I will ask Uncle Sam and Uncle Tom to come on up and join me at the front. Susie, if you wouldn't mind passing your baby to your brother. Now, Sam and Tom, Calvin and Susie have chosen you to be the guardians of this precious child in the event that misfortune should ever befall them. This is an honor of the greatest proportion, gentlemen. Do you accept the role and commit to making a special effort for young Riley, even if his parents are able always to provide his care? They say, we do. Thank you, fellas. You can return to your seats. And now, folks, we've come to the very most important part of today's ceremony, and that is to formally introduce this new child by the name that his parents have chosen for him. Susan and Calvin, if you could come back up here with your baby one last time. All right, Calvin and Susan have named their son Riley Jacob. The name Riley is of Irish origin. Riley means courageous, and certainly courage is a quality that will serve this child well throughout all of his life. The chosen middle name Jacob, it is the name of Susie's great-grandfather, who was the first in the family to travel to Australia seeking adventure and opportunity way back in the 1800s. It was a different world then, and Jacob himself must have been extremely courageous to leave his life in Ireland for a wild and unknown new land. Jacob built a home and raised a family here in Australia, and today his descendants number over 100 people. What a gift Jacob gave to this family when he put down roots here in Queensland. Jacob's memory lives on in the features of his great-great-grandson, Riley Jacob, for this child shares the red hair and blue eyes that made his great-grandfather stand out in a crowd. This is a very thoughtful and well-chosen name you have given your son, Susie and Calvin. And now, folks, I formally introduce to everyone gathered here today, Riley Jacob Sterling. Hey, woohoo, the crowd goes wild. All right, everyone, we're going to do a little ritual called the sand ceremony now. Could both sets of the grandparents come to the front? Thank you. Now I hand out the jars of sand to everyone. Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Every child comes into the world ready to receive love and guidance from their family around them. Children are like this empty vessel. They are ready to learn how to be in the world. And as they grow, they are filled up in the same way that a jar is filled with sand. Each individual contributes